In today's video, I wanted to quickly walk you through the limited by bidding strategy status inside Google Ads, including what it means and the most common scenario that we've really seen it, and whether or not it's something that you should listen to and take Google advice on, or just trust your own campaign process and your own plan for your campaign and just wait it out. Because what the limited by bid strategy status means is that Google is trying to basically suggest that you change your bidding strategy to one that it deems that, makes more sense for your campaign based on the opinion of its AI. And while Google's algorithm and its AI is, getting really smart and effective at assisting us with our campaign performance, we're not at the point yet where it can take over and completely manage everything without context, from a human actually managing it and determining like what the actual best bidding strategy is for our campaign depending on where we're at so far. Now, firstly, if you were limited by bidding strategy, you'd probably be well aware of it, and because you'd basically see the status and it's usually in an orange color saying limited by bid strategy. So it wouldn't say bid strategy learning as here, but it'd be more of like an alert saying limited by bid strategy. And I'm just going to speak from our experience because basically we always have the same campaign strategies where we start with maximize clicks with a maximum cost per click bid limit to basically collect as much relevant data as possible at the beginning, because from our experience we only like to run maximize conversions with the target CPA once we've already got enough relevant conversion data for us to actually benefit from Google's AI and it having the ability to show our ads to the right people that are actually interested in what we offer because we've already given it enough relevant data from running it on maximize clicks for enough time. So this is what that would usually look like. Your bidding strategy would be set to maximize clicks. You've set a maximum cost per click bid limit because especially at the campaign at the very beginning, you usually want to set a cap on what you're willing to pay per click. Because if you just start off with maximize conversions at the very beginning and you have no control over what you're going to be paying per click, and Google's AI doesn't have any relevant data on what it deems to be, a customer that's likely to convert, then you could be getting clicks for, a very high price, and a lot of those clicks, not turning into conversions, and it's going to be very hard to have a profitable campaign from the beginning working that way. And the main issue that we've noticed with this is that we've gotten the limited by bid strategy status from Google a lot. And it usually happens very early on, even within the first week or 2 weeks at most, where we've only gotten a few conversions so far, maybe perhaps 5 or 6 conversions. And Google says limited by bid strategy. And it usually says something along the lines of, you know, you'd most likely get better results by focusing on a maximize conversions bidding strategy rather than a maximize clicks bidding strategy. And obviously, we understand why they think that because, we're tracking conversions. And by conversions, we mean form submissions and phone calls. So it makes sense why Google would suggest that to us. But we have enough perspective to understand that this maximize conversions bidding strategy is most likely to work a lot better once we've got enough conversion data, and enough conversion data could vary from campaign to campaign, but we much prefer in our case to like have a lot of this data. For example, 3 months of consistent 20 to 30 conversions a month, because we know at that point that we're going to be confident enough to switch over to maximize conversions with a target CPA and not get a crazy dip in performance, and that we're going to keep that results going and bring down our cost per lead once we have that conversion data. And there was once or twice earlier on when we decided to try out maximize conversions a lot earlier, but we've just never had the same success with doing it when we saw the limited by bid strategy. Now, that's the most common issue we've seen, but there's a lot more bidding strategies to choose from inside Google Ads. And it usually just happens when you're starting out prioritizing clicks. So this could also be using manual CPC. And Google just tells you just far too early on that you should be focusing on conversions now. Whereas most of the time, you really need to give it more time before you switch over to the maximize conversions bidding strategy. And the example I gave isn't the only scenarios where you'll see this occurring, but it's just to give you more of an overview of, why this happens, and just letting you know that, if you have a game plan like going into this campaign of, how long you want to leave this bidding strategy running before you change it to another bidding strategy, then you're most likely a lot better off sticking with your original plan than, blindly following Google's recommendations of switching bidding strategy just because, they think you're limited by bidding strategy right now, when in reality you're actually not, and you need to give the bidding strategy that you currently have more time before it actually makes sense to make the switch over. So the main purpose of this video was to just explain that limited by bid strategy means that Google's algorithm thinks that your campaign could perform better, potentially, if you used a different bidding strategy instead. And usually in the long run, that might be the bidding strategy that you're going to use moving forward. But most of the time, it's not the bidding strategy that you want to start out with straight away. And it's usually going to be a lot better for you when you look at it in the long run, and you don't mind using that maximize clicks bidding strategy at the beginning to collect that data, and you're still able to run a profitable campaign doing it this way. Don't get me wrong, you don't need to wait 3 months until you see results, because if you set a maximum cost per click bid limit and have a high converting landing page, then you're still going to be getting a good cost per lead. But from our experience, if you go straight into maximize conversions, have no control over your cost per click, you might be paying a much higher cost per lead from the beginning, and have a lot less control over of your campaign overall, which is why we prefer, going into the campaign with an exact plan in place and know exactly when we are going to actually make the change over to the new bidding strategy ourselves, without doing it when we're being told that we have a limited by bid strategy. So I hope this video helped when it came to, what the limited by bid strategy status actually means, and also just gave you a bit more context as to, why it's not necessarily something that you need to worry about if you see it inside your campaign. And that if you have a plan in place for your own campaign with how much data you want to get before making that switch over, then you should just stick to your original plan. And any recommendations that you get from Google to make these changes early on, they usually should be ignored for the most part. And this applies to almost anything you get in the recommendations tab. I'd usually recommend coming to the recommendations tab here, maybe once a week, and just having a look through the recommendations that you have. And for the most part, most of these should be ignored, but they can still be worth checking out, just in case there is anything else worth implementing. And if you have any questions about this at all, or anything else related to Google Ads, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you do like this kind of content as well, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video.